We go. Good morning, guys. My name is Antti Järvinen. I'm the country manager for Google in Finland. And I never thought I would end up being a vocalist in an Android band, but here I am. I'm going to give you a little overview on how digitalization is affecting on the nations and the GDPs, and why it would be, in my opinion, in our Google opinion, would be very necessary that the startups would bridge together with the big corporations. At the moment, we are seeing the speed of a digitalization that we have not seen before in a humankind. I had a pleasure to meet Mr. Ray Kurzweil in Mountain View in June, and he told us that the speed will accelerate. And what we have seen in the past 10 years, we're going to see the same speed in next 3 years in terms of the digitalization. Think about that. It's going to accelerate. It's going to take us fast towards the future. Before going there, a couple of words how Finland and the North Europe look like. We have one of the 4 European data centers at Google in Finland, which obviously gives us a little bit more weight inside Google. The 3 other ones are in Netherlands, Belgium, and Ireland. As mentioned, we are part of the North European region, and what we have been doing, we have been putting together a study with Boston Consulting Group, which is following the e-GDP development of North European countries. At the moment, we can see that Belgium is the highest speeding economy in North Europe. The e-GDP share, in other words, digital goods and services, is growing 12.5% per annum in Belgium, in North Europe. In Netherlands, the growth rate towards 2020, it's 11.3% per annum. In Denmark, it's 8.3% per annum. In Sweden, it's 7.5%. In Estonia, it's 10%. In Finland, it's only 1.3%. We can see big differences between the North European countries, and all these countries have high e-intensity amongst the consumers. We have one of the highest ratios on how people have the broadband in their pockets. And if you think back, we didn't have these machines 10 years ago. And at the moment, one of my statements is that the big companies doesn't understand the full value of mobile. I've said in many occasions that mobile is changing the world more than any political decisions. From growth rates, from e-GDP to public opinions, this is how the public opinion looks like if we open the daily papers in any country. The basic idea is that digitalization is destroying more jobs than it's creating. And that's something that worries us at Google. And that's one of the key reasons why we wish to see that the startups will start bridging with the big corporations. The big corporations, they don't create jobs anymore. If we take a look, the European-wide look on the big corporations, the traditional legacy companies, whether they are in forestry, mining, machinery, and certain areas of business like consumer business like retail. Those companies, they don't create new jobs. And the well-being of any nation is dependent on the rate of employed people. Most of the jobs are created in the companies that do exports or are in ICT goods and services. If you take a look at the big corporations and the value that they create and how they build their competitive advantage at the moment, most of them have been focusing on increasing the productivity. They are not focused on innovation. They are focusing on increased productivity. So what they do, in Finnish we have this wording, you have the cheese cutter. So you cheese cut your cost on different divisions. And that's what they are focused. And the innovation comes from the startups. So there's definitely room for work on this area. In other words, there's 2 things that the big corporations hate. The big corporations hate change, and they hate how the things are. And trust me, this is true. If you take any crew of people from the big corporation, ask them who wants to have change, you can see the hands rising up. And people say that we want to have change. Then you make a question, who wants to change? And the people don't raise their hands anymore. People want to go comfortable and cozy way. And this is something I strongly believe that startup ecosystem can go and change in the big corporations. Obviously, there is a bunch of companies who have the leadership at the moment, who see this, who want to make drastic changes in the leadership style, in the management style, and change the people in top of the businesses to really make the change. But again, this is how the maturity looks like. And beyond that, this is how it then looks like from the IT perspective. Pretty many of our traditional big corporations are on the left side. They have very provisional devices. Their data is in silos. They need to have individual authoring. They need to have IT experts to run their businesses. And if you compare this world to ecosystem, for example, gaming today, what we can see happening in gaming industry, how fast it is, how lightweight any cloud computing surroundings is to develop and get most out of the data for these companies. It's a completely different world. The speed of action, speed of decision, speed of development, it's in a completely different level. And this is a challenge, how to shift from left to right. And again, I'm coming back to my topic. I strongly believe that startups can be the key players in big corporations to help to make this jump and shift from left to right. We can see amazing things happening at the moment with any device culture, team access anywhere, lightweight IT structure, and as we believe in Google, internet belongs to everyone, and internet is the space that creates innovation at the moment. Innovation creates actions, actions create economical actions, and economical actions create well-being. That's what we need. We need it globally to get most out of the digital opportunity. Who is driving the disruption? Working at Google, I hear it quite often that people come to me and say that big US giants like Google, Facebook, Apple, Microsoft, you're driving the disruption. And I tend to say that no. Consumers are driving the disruption. Consumers, ordinary people, they are the ones who take most out of the technology pretty fast. Any example? YouTube, Uber, Airbnb. Technology in the core, but without consumers, they would not have made their rise and get the position that these companies have today. So, one of the key problems in big corporations, what they are not consumer focused. They are product or production focused companies. And this is something, when I look around these startups here, I can see that the startups are really consumer end user focused companies at the moment. And that's why we need, again, startups to go and bridge with the big corporations, to make the mental move and the shift in the big corporations to show that once you focus on your user, that's how you are going to win. So where we live, how our everyday life looks like. I'm coming back to mobile. So like I said, 10 years ago, we didn't have smartphones. Today, an average consumer touches 150 times a day their mobile phone. The mobile video watching in young consumers, the age group between 15 and 30, increased 400% last year. 20% of the millennials do watch esports online. 20% of the millennials do watch esports online. 150 times a day, several moments, I want to go, I want to do, I want to know, I want to buy, I want to get excited. Different moments that the consumers go through with their smartphones. Some of them do it for utility purposes. Some of them do it for work. Some of them do it for entertaining themselves. Some of them do it for social purposes, and so on. So there is billions of different moments every day around the globe within the mobile devices. And by the way, 5G is coming in 2 years. It was published yesterday that one of the Nordic operators, TeliaSonera, has promised to deliver 5G in 2018. 5G enables 1,000 times the speed of a 4G in a mobile phone. And I could make a bet that no big corporations are ready to deliver services on 5G surroundings to get most out of the speed of the network in their service levels, what they are providing to consumers. Moments are a lot of data. I can see around that startups are the ones who can see the use cases for data. Startups are the innovators for data use cases. The big corporations lack on innovation on how to utilize the data. I happened to have a good discussion yesterday with one of the gaming company's CEO who said that they have decided long ago what kind of data they will have, how they want to utilize it, and what's the next level of development on how they utilize the data and what they do with it. And then they have built their practices around it and made sure that their compliance is fully in place in regarding on what they are aiming for. I can see some good things happening in the startup and gaming scheme, which I wish to transfer for the big corporations as fast as possible and see the radical shift on their side. My key message is that micro-moments, those moments where people want to do something, go somewhere, buy something, entertain themselves, they are the new battlefield for any company, whether it's a startup, whether it's a big corporation. And that's where the focus should be. Once you are fully mobile, then you can start thinking on AI, machine learning, and stuff like that. But before being fully mobile, before serving fully your customers on mobile devices, you should not rush to any further technology. I did pick 6 themes on how it looks from our perspective. What are the C-level top themes and challenges in the big corporations in 2017? Mobile. The key challenge for almost every big corporation in any business area, whether it's e-com, whether it's customer service, whether it's marketing, whether it's their logistics, supply chain management, maintenance. So mobile is the key challenge. The second challenge is the culture of innovation. That's where I started. They hate how the things are and they hate change. But they got to get moving. There is a prediction in place, which I heard from one of the Singularity University professors. He said that 75% of the S&P 500 list companies will change by 2025. It's going to mean a new world order on how the power is divided between the companies. Technology, that's why we are here today. It's a growth enabler. And I think that startups get it. Startups really get it. Big corporations, they don't get it at the moment. And I think this is a joint effort. It's us, it's you, going and bridging the gap. What comes to sales, beyond media, how to make technology and data the core of the sales strategy. I think the whole ecosystem talks a little bit too much on digital marketing, as we should see it as a digital sales channel. It's a digital sales channel, and e-com it's increasing all the time. In the Northern Europe, we can see that the average share of any retail business towards the e-com is 14% at the moment, the total share, and the e-com is growing with two-digit numbers in every country in the Northern European region. Automation, how to succeed in an automated world. A key question. Requires new competencies, requires new skills, requires new organizational structure perhaps, requires new technology, requires new operating model to succeed in the world of automation. One of my key statements is that the future will be measurement in any area. It will be attribution, so the correlations between different actions, and it will be automation. There is a prediction that over 90% of the current retail industry's customer service operations will be automated by 2020. So there will be no humankinds anymore in the customer service jobs in the call centers that we are used to still in today's world. And then the sixth one, how to make a shift from traditional business metrics to profit-driven strategy execution. I think that's something that technology enables in its purest for the corporations, as it does it already for the startups. I can see already many startups which are run with very profit-driven strategy execution once they have made their breakthrough. And that means that you cannot have the same business metrics anymore that you used to have in the 1980s. And those differ from business to other. And the management should be brave enough to go there and do their digging, finding out that what are the metrics that really are driving the results for our future growth. If you meet the C-level corporate executives here today, go and ask them, what are the digital metrics that are driving your success? I buy you a cup of coffee if you find good answers on that side. Why this is important? MIT and Capgemini had a study which showed that once the corporations fully digitalize themselves and want to be the front runners, they increase their revenues compared to their peers by 9%. They are 26% more profitable, and they have 12% higher market valuation. It's an evidence that tells us, amongst 400 big companies, that for the big companies, for the corporation, it's worth transforming themselves fully into digital. Key questions, some takeaways for you guys. Go and find out what matters. What really matters? What's driving the growth? The growth is the key question. What matters towards the growth? Do we have the metrics that help us make the growth? Are we following the right things when we are making our business decisions. Immediately after that, we really need to know what's working. I've run to in many discussions during the past months and been asking there that do you know what's working? Half of the discussions, there is a good answer in place and the companies really do know what's working. Half of the discussions, they don't have a clue what's working. We really need to improve on that side. Coming back to startups, startups do know what's working in digital space. And that's again the shift of knowledge that we wish to see that startups take to big corporations. And then finally, we need to know what's possible. That's where I started. I started from the speed of change, the speed of technology development, and the prediction that in the next 3 years, we are going to see the speed of development that we have seen in the last 10 years. So the most crucial thing is that we do know what's possible. Because then we are able to evaluate again that what really matters and what's working. When to do the shift? If not now, when? I think Felix was a great example. He had decided to go there, but I'm sure he had this thought. And then he just put himself into the move. That's what we wish to see in the space. A lot of actions, a lot of movement towards the new and brave things. Thank you, guys. This is what I wanted to tell you, and we have a couple of minutes if you have any questions. Happy to answer.
I was studying accounting in school, and it was always boring, but you know, let's make this fun. So,
You mentioned that one of the 4 data centers is here. Is it because of the startup boom here?
events and conferences.
I think the data center investment is made on multiple reasons. On the infrastructure, on the land available, on the price of the energy, and so on. So there is multiple reasons behind that one. Obviously, the geographical location is one of those. It happened to be built in the old paper mill, so there was good premises available already. Sorry?
How does Google look at Finland in general?
In general, how does Google look like Finland? We look at Finland. We look at Finland like any other North European country. So we belong in the North European region. We can see that Finland has high E-intensity. We are the first country in the world which has made the 5G phone calls. So in the University of Oulu, there is the first 5G phone calls which have been called and so on. So we want to be a good partner to digitalize Finland, like we want to be a good partner in Sweden, Denmark, Netherlands, Belgium, Norway, to digitalize these countries and really make these countries front runners in European wide. That's a good question. When Google will open a startup hub in Helsinki? We almost have a virtual one already. So we have an industry manager, Juho Juhantalo, somewhere here. Juho is in charge of our gaming and apps clients and the industry there. So Juho is deeply involved in the gaming and apps industry in Finland at the moment. All right, thank you guys. Have a nice slush. Thank you for listening. Let's enjoy.